Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee. We've got a couple of posts that are up that I think you might find very interesting. First off, we are coming into the last couple of days and trying to determine the Siberian snow cover indicator. Now, just to review, what that indicator says is snow cover, the rate of snow cover growth in Siberia during the month of October is tied to, at least according to the theory, it's tied to winters in the east. When that rate of snow cover growth is rapid, and when that rate of snow cover growth is south of 60 degrees north, which I'm drawing for you right here, okay? So we want to look at the area south of 60 degrees north. So it's this area here. When that rate is rapid, there seems to be a connection to colder winters evolving in the eastern part of the United States. What is fueling the snow cover growth is the unfrozen Arctic Ocean, which is at the sea ice is at a very, very low level. All of this area up here in the Arctic Ocean is free of sea ice. And that provides an incredibly ample moisture source for snowfall to occur. One other thing that I've picked up on as I was looking around at some past years in the last 16 that I think it may be equally important is the area that is to the west of the Ural Mountains, okay, which we're talking about this area in here. When there is very little snow cover growth in this area, coupled with the strong snow cover growth that occurs south of 60 degrees north, those are the winters that wind up being colder and snowier than normal in the east. When we look back at some of the winters of the past 17, where snow cover growth was ample west of the Urals and weak in the southern flank, there was a tendency for those winters to be warmer than normal. Now, the other thing I did find was the winters of last winter and also the winter of 2011-2012, which were El Nino years. In those winters, there was ample snow cover growth both in the southern flank and in the westernmost flank. And those were years that, in general, produced below normal snowfalls and warmer than normal temperatures in the east. So it seems to be an indicator that works. There isn't enough in the data set to make it where it's used by long-range forecasters of the Weather Service. The data doesn't go back far enough to make it statistically significant, but if it ever did, it might be one that they would include. Now, here on the chart, you can see the red is the current growth which takes us to October 27th. So it's going to, I don't have the last 2 days, and we don't have the next 2 days to add to this, but the red line is the current year. The green line is last year, which you notice finishes number 2 on the list. Number 1 was the winter of 2014-2015, which was severe, and number 4 is the winter of 2013-2014, which was also severe. So it looks like that this indicator, assuming that it is continuing on its uptrend, and there is snow that is forecast to fall in the southern flank over the next couple of days, will finish, this year will finish in that range of the top 4. So that's something to keep in the back of your mind. Now, the other thing I want to touch upon is the fact that, I've been touting the idea that there's going to be a mid-month pattern change. And when you look at the upper air pattern jet stream for this week, it is very benign for the most part. You don't have a real good polar connection setting up. But this model run today was very interesting because as we go through time, what happens is the jet stream begins to change. And we've been thinking that the middle of the month will be the time frame. Now, if you take a look, I'm just going to back it up. This is for next week. And the reason why there isn't too much going on is the issue in the Pacific. You have a screaming jet that's coming into the Pacific and basically flooding Canada with warm air. Polar air tends to be locked up. The only thing that's different, though, is that we have some blocking that's up in the North Atlantic. So that is actually creating a little bit of a funnel for some cooler Canadian air to come down into the northeastern part of the United States. So it keeps temperatures from getting too warm. On the other hand, it's not cold enough air that it's excessive. So we see these weather fronts coming through every couple of days. It's a little bit cooler than normal for a day or two, then a little warmer than normal for a day or two, unlike what we experienced during this week where we were locked in some cold air, again, also supplied because of the blocking pattern and not so much by what's going on in Canada. But as we move the jet stream forward, you'll notice the changes that go on both in the Pacific and in Canada that kind of opens up an alleyway for cold air to come down. And all the indicators seem to be pointing in this direction. So now, instead of having a screaming jet coming out of the Pacific, you have some semblance of a polar flow developing, and you also have blocking that's happening. So this could potentially be a dynamic pattern going into the second half of the month. This is an evolutionary process. I want to see how this all evolves, of course, but models keep pointing to this. The European model also has this same general idea, especially in its long range maps that it puts out that I don't really I don't have them, and if I did, I wouldn't be able to show them to you, but I have seen them, that some people do have them, and they are particularly dynamic for the latter part of November going into the beginning of December, which would make sense given what is going on. So I'll put the links up. You'll see cards come up on this video with the links to these posts, and you can link to them and read more on that. And of course, you can find them always on meteorologistjoechaffee.com and local weather conditions on weatherlongisland.com and nycweathernow.com. And don't forget ssstormchasers.com. When storms are around, that's the page you want to be on. And those guys are out there chasing storms and bringing back pictures and videos for you. So have a great rest of your weekend as we see temperatures tomorrow head up towards 70 degrees before we cool down again on Monday.